Have you ever wondered what happens when two giants in the food and beverage world collide with the world of cinema? Today, we're diving into the unbelievable story of how McDonald's and Coca-Cola teamed up to create their own version of E.T. It's filled with numerous twists and turns, involving not just the movie plot, but also exclusive behind-the-scenes curiosities. Stay with us until the end to discover the unexpected findings we've managed to find out. How will your view of everyday brands change after experiencing the story of Mac and Me? Origins of Mac and Me. So, how did Mac and Me come to be? The story begins with R.J. Lewis, the man behind The Karate Kid, who had a vision. He wanted to create a movie that would support various charities. However, the end result strayed far from this noble beginning. Now, you might be wondering how such blatantly obvious product placements find their way into a movie like this. Before we reveal that, please subscribe to never miss out on such interesting stories. Imagine this. The creator of Mac and Me used his advertising expertise from working with McDonald's to dream up a movie that could change the game in product placements. He noticed the immense popularity of Ronald McDonald, a figure almost as recognizable as E.T., the star of the then highest-grossing film ever, surpassing even Star Wars. His reasoning was simple. With E.T.'s success and McDonald's global recognition, combining the two could be a huge hit. He believed that the younger generation deserved their own version of E.T., despite the original being only 6 years old at the time. Lewis managed to secure exclusive rights to use McDonald's branding in a feature film. But was this just a noble cause, or was there more to the story? You won't want to miss how a charitable movie turned into a marketing frenzy. Project Transformation. As the project unfolded, the film evolved into something else entirely. Alongside the inclusion of brands like Skittles and Sears, Mac and Me became less about the story and more about serving as a massive commercial for Coca-Cola and McDonald's. The original intention of supporting charities was overshadowed by the overwhelming presence of these corporate giants. Interestingly, despite the heavy McDonald's influence, the mastermind behind the movie claimed that this wasn't his original vision. What was the real story? Given the events that followed, this claim seems a bit questionable. He also claims that McDonald's directly funded the film, but a closer look reveals a different story. In a surprising twist, it wasn't McDonald's, but one of their major suppliers who secretly funded the film. How did this change the game? This essentially means that Ronald McDonald indirectly bankrolled Mac and Me. After conceptualizing Mac and Me, Lewis spent 3 years negotiating for the movie and TV rights to McDonald's. His grand scheme was to have cardboard cutouts of Mac, the mysterious alien creature, in every McDonald's outlet. He envisioned a mutual promotion, the film boosting McDonald's and vice versa, with a slice of the movie's profits going to the Ronald McDonald House. Meanwhile, McDonald's was diving deep into licensed character toys for their Happy Meals, and Disney was just entering the picture. This brought a new angle to the table. Did you know that the Mac and Me partnership led to an unexpected deal between Disney and McDonald's, reshaping children's meals for years to come? This arrangement allowed Disney to dominate the Happy Meal toy scene until 2006, when they shifted focus to promoting children's health. Suddenly, McDonald's found themselves committed to a movie featuring a relatively unknown character, Mac. While they may not have been ecstatic about this partnership, they were already too deep into the agreement to back out. E.T. vs. Mac. Let's talk about how Mac and Me made its mark, or rather, missed it. Picture this, an alien named Mac not just wandering Earth, but embarking on adventures with a young boy named Eric Cruz. Sound familiar? That's because it eerily echoes the plot of E.T. the Extraterrestrial, a fact that didn't go unnoticed by, well, anyone. With a plot strikingly similar to E.T., the production team knew they were walking on thin ice. How did they try to set Mac and Me apart? They tried to differentiate Mac by making him part of an alien family and giving him unique powers. Despite these tweaks, the film landed with a thud. Critics were quick to call it out for its striking resemblance to Spielberg's classic, and didn't hold back on criticizing the in-your-face product placements of McDonald's and Coca-Cola. But how did they try to outdo one of the most beloved films of all time? The answer might surprise you. The first step was to ensure Mac, the alien, didn't look too similar to E.T. They gave Mac unique powers like the eerie ability to revive the dead and physical features allowing his body to stretch in different ways. These changes were enough to avoid a legal issue with E.T., receiving a nod of approval from Spielberg's producer, Kathleen Kennedy. Product placement in focus. Now, let's dive into the most jaw-dropping moments of product placement in Mac and Me. First off, imagine a scene set entirely inside a McDonald's restaurant. It features Ronald McDonald himself leading a big dance sequence. Here, McDonald's is not just a backdrop, it becomes a central element of the scene. The joyful, energetic atmosphere mirrors the brand's image in its advertisements. And just when you thought it couldn't get more blatant, wait until you hear about the Coca-Cola scene. It's coming up next. In another interesting scene, Mac the alien is at death's door. Surprisingly, it's not futuristic technology or emotional moments that save him, but rather a can of Coca-Cola. The scene was meant to be dramatic and touching, but ended up feeling more like a blatant commercial, undermining the emotional gravity the filmmakers might have intended. Similar to the Coca-Cola scene, products like Skittles and items from Sears are prominently featured in various parts of the movie. These placements turn everyday objects into focal points of the scenes. But instead of blending seamlessly into the narrative, they stick out, reminding viewers they are watching a product-laden film. Behind the scenes. But what was it like on set? Let's take a peek behind the scenes of Mac and Me and see how this unique film was pieced together. Firstly, in line with the movie's charitable spirit, they cast a real kid in a wheelchair for the role of Eric. He wasn't a professional actor, but he adapted impressively to the demands of filmmaking. Did you know the script for Mac and Me was written on the go? An unusual and risky move in Hollywood. Let's see how that played out. Their goal was to mirror the essence of E.T. while trying not to make the imitation too obvious. McDonald's, which was deeply involved in the project, had specific requirements. They wanted the film to support their charities, but it also had to align with their brand's tone and style. This meant portraying the same kind of fun and positivity seen in their commercials. This direction even led to a surreal dance scene set in an actual McDonald's restaurant. The film had to get every detail right, from the way the food looked to adhering to McDonald's dress code. And here's an interesting detail. The name Mac, as in mysterious alien creature, might remind you of McDonald's iconic Big Mac. Coincidence or clever marketing? You decide. Initially, Ronald McDonald was not supposed to appear in the film. However, this rule was broken for the film's bizarre dance sequence. Trust me, you need to see the scene to believe it. Ronald's appearance was later justified as an artistic choice. Here's a fun fact for you. Did you know Jennifer Aniston appears in this very dance scene? It was her first movie role. Reception and response. Now, let's see how this all played out. Did the audience buy into it, or did it flop? The answer is just around the corner. Let's just say the audience's response didn't meet expectations. Since it was released during a blockbuster-packed summer, the studio had high hopes, believing they had a hit akin to E.T. However, the reality was different. Critics didn't hold back, calling Mac and Me an E.T. clone. But was it just the product placements that led to its downfall, or was there more to the story? Despite its charitable intentions and the inclusion of an actor genuinely in a wheelchair, the film's commercialism of products overshadowed any artistic value it had. The verdict from movie fans matched the critics' disapproval as well. Mac and Me turned out to be a commercial flop, grossing only $6.4 million against a budget of $13 million. It's a reminder of how a movie clouded by commercial interest and lacking in genuine storytelling can miss the mark with audiences and critics alike. Despite the ambitious crossover and charitable goals, Mac and Me is often cited as one of the worst movies ever made, holding a rare 0% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The Mac and Me saga highlights a critical point about the intersection of art and commerce. It's a lesson in the importance of prioritizing genuine storytelling over blatant product promotion. For instance, seeing brands like Dell and Apple in movies feels natural because technology is an everyday part of our lives. But when a film's crucial scene hinges on a Domino's delivery bike, that's when product placement becomes a distraction.